Welcome to Know Before You Go for the fourth Sunday of Advent. I'm Father Don Goergen. The fourth Sunday of Advent already, which tells us that for which we've been waiting is not far off. Christmas will occur within a few days. It's interesting, however, that Christmas story actually began many months before, 9 months before, with the story of the Annunciation. And so the church on this fourth Sunday of Advent actually gives us that story of the Annunciation in its gospel text from Luke. You're very familiar with it, but let me just read for you a few lines from it. The angel Gabriel was sent from God to a town of Galilee called Nazareth. And then it continues, and of course, the angel says, "Behold, you will conceive." And Mary says, "How can this be?" And then the climactic line at the end of that is Mary's consent. "May it be done to me according to your word." It's a rich story filled with symbolism, but I want to concentrate our awareness on just that last line there in the gospel text. When Mary says, "Behold, I am a handmaid of the Lord. Let it be done to me according to your word." Let it be done to me according to your word. We can think of all that we've been through in our country and in our own personal lives during these past months. What would it mean for us to say, "Let it be, let it be, let it be done as you, Lord, will"? What we have here is an incredible example of Mary's receptivity, that after this amazing news comes, which is undoubtedly unsettling for her, she rather quickly, seemingly with peace, is able to say, "Let it be done to me according to your word." In a way, it's somewhat reminiscent of her son's prayer, which perhaps he learned from her growing up, when he says in Gethsemane, "Not my will, but thine be done," which is what we all pray in the Our Father as well. "May your will be done on earth as in heaven." What it takes for God's mystery to unfold is that, in fact, Mary is receptive to this grace, this sense of receptivity that has to be there in order for God to work miracles. A receptivity, since we are being used as channels of his grace. And so likewise in our own lives, we often think today, well, why can't God work a miracle? Well, God may not choose to work a miracle as we might read about in the scriptures, but still we can ask ourselves the question, what about my openness, my receptivity, my willingness to say, "Lord, not my will, Lord, let it be done"? The Annunciation is one of those marvelous, joyful mysteries, the first one. And although we call it a joyful mystery, which it is for us, certainly in terms of salvation history, for Mary, it could have been listed as one of the sorrowful mysteries, because in fact, her life has been suddenly changed. And she is not only aware of, well, let this be, I don't know how, but let it be, but she's also aware of what it means, how her life has been changed dramatically, how she will be looked upon if indeed she gives birth to this illegitimate child. So for us, it seems to me this is the lesson that the church offers us toward the end of this season of Advent, asking us, as we've been preparing for this Christmas celebration, am I receptive to how God works in my life. For Mary, this occasion was a grace, but it was not pain-free. So likewise, grace can come to us if we're open, receptive, but that doesn't mean, because it's grace, it comes without pain or anguish in many different forms. Let it be. Those words of surrender to God, to God's grace, to how God chooses to act in my life, not as I will. And certainly as we look back at these past months, we can all say, not as we have willed. But let us be open. Let us surrender. Let us, like Mary, be able to say, let it be done. Let it be. Indeed, an example I would just give in my own life, I can remember once living in a small community with my Dominican brothers. There was one, a very good man, but who annoyed me tremendously. And eventually, one morning at morning prayer, I just said to myself, well, that's who he is. That's who he is. That's who he is. And in kind of acknowledging that this wasn't something over which I had control, incredible peace came. Resignation. That's who he is. Let it be. Move on. So likewise in our lives, there are many occasions when we might not like the way something unfolds. But let us allow Mary to set this example for us. This example when her life was so totally disrupted. And what she said was, let it be done to me. Let it be. Let it be. Let it be, Lord. Thank you, and have a wonderful, joyful Christmas season.